Hi, I'm Serena Simmons and welcome to 8 Model Psychology. Today we're going to be looking at why you need to break your routine. Are you bored with your routine? So breaking your routine sits at my most favourite part of the 8 model, and that is the evolve part. This part of the model is all about pushing you forward, keeping momentum in your life, and essentially having you feel like you are constantly evolving. So we look at play, we look at embracing failure, we look at connection and finding your purpose, and this is where you'll find breaking your routine. But why is this something I should focus on? Well, I've been privileged enough to work with many different people in my practice over the years, and I can tell you that whenever anyone has come to me feeling unhappy or uninspired with the life that they're living, or feeling like the life they're living is stagnant and uninspiring, that their routine and the things that they're doing on repeat are typically something that need addressing. Often these routines are things that they're doing without knowing, and essentially they're not serving them or helping them to get to where they want to be. I'm going to include a quote from Tony Robbins here, which epitomises it fantastically well when he says, "If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten." When you think about the routines that you hold in your life, are there things that inspire you and excite you, things that you do that you know are pushing you towards your goals and pushing you forward? And likewise, are there things that you do in your life routinely that you dread or that you don't enjoy? Now, we've talked about the shit sandwich before here at APE, so when we talk about those things that we dread, that we don't like, I'm not necessarily talking about the things that you have to get done in your life. I'm talking about the bigger stuff that has you step well outside of your comfort zone. So just a disclaimer before I go any further, this is not for you if you love your comfort zone. If you want to stay where you are and you see nothing wrong with your life and you are utterly inspired with everything that you're doing, congratulations, you are one of the few. On a serious note, this also isn't for you if you are someone that needs stability and routine. So I'm talking about those that have maybe a clinical diagnosis. So if you have maybe something on the autistic spectrum or a mental health issue where routine and stability are really vital to your well-being and mental health, then again this advice isn't really for you. This is for those of you that know that you're coasting, that know that you want to achieve more, and those of you that know that essentially you want to grow and feel like you are continuously evolving in your life. So this is why it's really important to look at how you can consistently break your routine. You see, breaking your routine and taking yourself out of your comfort zone is actually where growth and change happen. The people that I've worked with in my practice that are really successful, really driven, but also genuinely inspired by the life they're living, are constantly looking at ways that they can step outside of that mundane routine and do things that are different. So when you look at your routine, what do you see? Like I said, there will be things that just have to get done and things that excite you, but we're thinking more broadly than that. So what can you be doing that will take you out of your routine, that has you break the current routine of what you're currently doing on an ongoing repeat basis, and have you feel like you are actually growing and changing? Now, there are two ways to look at this. I would start by looking at this on a micro scale. So that would be the small little daily practices that you hold, that maybe there's a great deal of benefit from just making small tweaks and small changes. Those small tweaks and changes can involve little things like changing your daily routine and practice around when you wake up and how you do that, the exercise that you undertake, the things that you eat in the morning, that kind of thing. So dietary changes and kind of habit changes. This kind of stuff very much links to mindfulness. So the micro changes that you make can enable you to think more mindfully about the things you're doing, and that in itself has a really positive impact on your overall happiness and well-being. There's then looking at this on a completely different macro scale, and it's the stuff that's really exciting. So this is the stuff that really pushes you out of your comfort zone. In other words, are there big activities and things that you could undertake that really challenge you and push you and sometimes scare you? Now, the benefit of doing things that you've never done before is twofold. This will also impact your overall kind of well-being and happiness and emotions that are positively aligned with that. But another thing that it really helps with is your brain function. So you may have heard of something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is essentially just your brain's ability to make new connections and neural connections throughout your life. It relates to how your brain adapts and adjusts adjust to new changes and new environments and new experiences. So there was a time when neuroscientists believed that no new connections and neurons would be made throughout the course of your life and into aging. So we now know that the brain still does this throughout life, and one way that you can really positively impact this is by doing new things. This is vital to brain development, and it's really important that we not only exercise and challenge our bodies in that physical way, but that we do the same for our brains. And this is where breaking a routine comes in. Now, there are really obvious things you can do to do this, and lots of people do things like take up a new language, which is actually a fantastic way of breaking that routine. So as well as learning new languages, I would really encourage you to think about taking up new activities, maybe listening to new music, maybe taking up a new instrument. Another thing you can do is take on crazy activities like skydiving or paragliding, or do a bungee jump. Ultimately then, what we're saying is that by breaking your routine, not only can you enhance your sense of well-being and happiness, but essentially you will be impacting your brain function. I'm going to end here with another quote as you ponder the things that you could be doing to break your routine, and that's a beautiful quote from Einstein, and he says, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." So if you've ever felt like you're stagnating, that you're not really inspired by the things that you're doing, then maybe you can try this and actually look at ways that you can break your routine so that you can feel like you're really moving forward. So I hope I've left you with some really great things to ponder there about your own routine, and maybe you've already got some ideas about the things that you can do to break it as well. Don't forget, if you like what you've seen, do click on the link below to subscribe, and that way I'll see you again next week.